Hi, welcome to Town Talk. Our main topic today is Bridgedale Blvd, and as you can see, we're on location.
You can see behind us that there's been a lot of work done on the road so far. We're really excited to get the project completed. We're getting close now, so today we're going to tell you all about it.
I'm Eric Lewis.
And I'm Andrew LeBlanc.
This is our second episode. We released our first episode 2 weeks ago. We've got quite a bit of comments and feedback on social media, which is great. We're really glad people are tuning in, checking us out. As a reminder, this show is not affiliated or endorsed by the town of Riverview. It's just two longtime residents discussing matters related to Riverview. It's been a big week here in Riverview and in New Brunswick.
Yeah, and first thing we want to touch on today is the mandatory masks announcement. So the province announced today, we're obviously filming this on October 8th and releasing it later, that masks will now be mandatory in public spaces in the province of New Brunswick. So obviously that has an impact on the town of Riverview. So in all municipal buildings, you will be required to wear a mask now. And I know this is something that we've both been really in favor of and something we feel is a good thing. So, what are your thoughts? Were you anticipating that announcement? Do you think it's a good thing?
I wasn't sure if it would happen or would or wouldn't happen, but I think it's a positive. I mean, it's a polarizing issue. I understand that, but I think that anything we can do to mitigate the virus, I guess, is a positive. So this is just another step. It can be maybe a little irritating at times, but every little thing we can do, I think it helps a little bit. So
I think especially seeing how quickly things can devolve and how fast things can spread. I think you're right. Anything we can do to try and protect our neighbors and our families, we have a responsibility to do that. So I'm with you on this one. I think it's a really good thing, and hopefully we see some positive results because of it.
Absolutely. And since, sort of on a similar topic, since our last episode, we've gotten an update on Halloween. Why don't you tell us a bit about Halloween and what it's going to mean here in Riverview?
Well, so good news, I guess, for some people. The province has announced that you are allowed to go trick-or-treating now. And so they've given us some regulations or recommendations, I guess, on how to stay safe doing that. And so I would encourage you to go check out the Town of Riverview Facebook page, because we have shared some of that information. Or you can check out my council page as well. I shared that same post. Just outlining some of the recommendations on how to keep your kids safe for trick-or-treating. And obviously there's probably going to be a number of people that just choose not to participate. I think the important thing for the community is to recognize that we all have different perspectives on this one. So if your neighbor chooses not to participate in Halloween and you do choose to do it, we just need to be respectful of the fact that, everyone has a different take on this. Some people are more comfortable than others, and we just need to respect our friends and neighbors and the choices that they make and how they choose to participate.
Absolutely. And as with all things COVID related, this is evolving and things may change in the coming weeks. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One thing we heard about a few times since our first episode was people asking us to discuss a number of issues, but one that kept popping up was rats in the town. It's been an issue we've heard about in the news for a while. People in certain areas of town are finding, I guess, a rat population in the neighborhood. So I understand the town's looking into that. Can you tell us what's going on there?
Sure. So you're right. We've had some complaints that have come to us as councillors anyway, just about the amount of rats that people are seeing in town now. So we won't get into that too much tonight because, I guess technically this will be released in the morning, and tonight we'll be having a presentation in council from Orkin talking specifically about the rat problem and hopefully making some recommendations on what we can do moving forward. So just to let you know, we are planning on addressing this in a future episode. We're just going to wait until we get some more concrete information on what some possible solutions are.
Sounds good. In our last episode, we talked about the Fundy Chocolate River Station, a major project in town. That's a development we'll see a lot coming from over the next couple of months. And tonight we wanted to look at another big development. This one the town is pursuing itself, Bridgedale Blvd. Mm-hmm. The construction's been underway for a while. There's now a roundabout on Gunningsville Boulevard, and it's extending off of there. and I believe going down to Runnymede, where the Mill Creek Nature Park is.
That's right, yeah. So it's a really big project for the town. It's been on the books for a long time and in the plans, I guess. And so this is one that I'm particularly excited about because I think it means a lot of, there's a lot of opportunity and potential for growth because of this project. And it could be a real catalyst to seeing some bigger things happening for the town. So I was really excited to be able to get this project up and running. So you're right, it comes off of Gunningsville Boulevard. There's a roundabout there. It goes all the way down to Runnymede Road, and there's a roundabout there as well. And that's phase one. The project is set to be finished in two phases. The second phase would have it go from Runnymede down to Hillsborough Road. It would come out roughly where John's Garden Center used to be. Obviously, phase one is happening now. Phase two is not currently in the 10-year plan, so we're a little ways out from being able to complete phase two.
I understand you sort of fast-tracked this particular phase?
We did. So when the province announced that they were going to be closing the causeway next year, we, like everybody else, had a similar reaction, be like, oh no, how are we going to get to Moncton easily? Recognizing that was going to be a pretty big challenge. And one of the issues that was going to happen is people traveling east to west in the town of Riverview. We knew that would contribute to the bottleneck that's going to happen at the Gunningsville Bridge intersection. So we wanted to push Bridgedale Blvd because what that's going to allow is for people living in the east to be able to go up Runnymede, take Bridgedale Blvd to Gunningsville, and travel east to west in the town a lot more easily.
Right.
Than they could otherwise, and not having to get stuck at the bridge intersection, and vice versa if you're coming from the west and going to the east, the same thing. So it'll open traffic up a lot for that. We're obviously expecting heavy congestion at the bridge intersection for when the causeway closes. We recognize that's going to be a big issue. I felt it was a real positive because anything we can do to try and alleviate the stress and the chaos that's going to happen next year is a positive thing. The project was already in the plans, so all we did was move it a little bit earlier to try and help address what's going to happen next year with the causeway closure.
Okay, certainly, and that's opening up a lot of land. That's a strip of land that was just trees, just sort of waiting for development. What are there expectations for what that could mean over time if developers start looking at that area?
Well, I think there's a lot of possibility with it. Originally, the Riverview Recreation Complex was planned to go right at the entrance or not right at the entrance, but fairly close to the entrance of Bridgedale Boulevard off Gunningsville. And obviously those plans have changed now and it's going back to the Runnymede side of that road. But there's always been talk about plans on what sort of commercial growth could happen right along Gunningsville Boulevard. And I believe even when the council of the day planned to open Gunningsville Boulevard itself, which was back in 2007, there was a lot of conversation then about what could this mean for commercial growth. The access point into that strip of land where the commercial growth could be is Bridgedale Boulevard. So now that road is going in, now we've opened up all the opportunities for developers to start looking at, okay, what could go in there? Mm-hmm. Could we see different, business opportunities to go in there? I think you'd probably be looking at the south side of the road and where some of that development would be. It's also going to open up the access to the recreation complex when that gets built. It opens up more access into Mill Creek to the entrance that's on Runnymede. So there's a ton of positives that come with this road. And there's a lot of opportunity for the future. And I think it could mean some really good things. So that combined with the recreation complex, the plans for the development where the Chocolate River Station is, I think there's some big things happening. Mm-hmm. And this could be a real catalyst to seeing some of that growth.
It's kind of cool that the recreation complex, and we are going to discuss that in detail in a future episode, but that project next to Mill Creek, which is already a really great outdoor recreation space, are going to be so close together.
Well, I mean, I think it's great because obviously Mill Creek is an incredible asset for this town. There's an amazing trail network that's running through there, and all the kudos in the world to our Parks and Recreation Department for the work that they've done to groom all those trails and put that park together. It's phenomenal. I'm really excited by the fact that they're really close together because I think they complement each other. And as the recreation complex goes through different phases, hopefully there'll be some synergy that happens there and able to build off that. So yeah, a lot of opportunity in there as well.
This is the road itself, Bridgedale Blvd, obviously a major project. How much money are we talking?
A little bit of money. So the project in total is going to cost $8.1 million. So that's 5.4 on the transportation side of things, and then 2.7 for the water and sewer that goes with it. And so it's a decent amount of money, but obviously this is part of the growth of a municipality, right? Mm-hmm. Investing in your infrastructure is a really key part of that. There's so many other benefits too. I mean, it's going to open up the East End completely, especially when phase 2 is done. Anybody traveling from outside of Riverview coming up is going to have easier access to get up into Finley Park. Residents are going to have an easier time getting up into that area of town as well. And so we're excited about that. The other thing it's going to mean is better access for emergency vehicles to get down into that end of town as well. And anything we can do, obviously, to open up access there is certainly a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first phase. You said the second phase is not even in the 10-year plan.
No.
Does that mean it's kind of just, we'll kind of get to it when we get to it, when there's a need for it? Is there any urgency there at all?
I wouldn't say there's urgency. There's definitely desire.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking that far out, though, you never know what the council of the day is going to look at and what priorities might come up. So it's really hard to plan beyond 10 years, especially when councils change every 4 years. So, right. Or in this case, 5 years because of COVID. So that's why we really cap it at that. So it's definitely a project that we are really desiring to have happen. Financially, we just, you can't include everything in the 10-year plan. And so phase 2 is moved a little bit further out.
Excellent.
And I think waiting, though, is going to allow us to see what kind of opportunity comes with phase 1 too. Right. And if we see some growth because of that, if we see some residential developers maybe building a little bit more in that area as well, there's lots of opportunity for that too. So we're excited to see what'll come.
You mentioned recreation is a major part of all this. Is there recreation built into the boulevard in some way, a trail or something like that?
Yeah, we have a great active transportation plan for the town of Riverview. So in most of the big developments, you're going to see that incorporated. So there is a trail that runs down the side of Bridgedale Blvd, and that is set to open when the whole road opens as well. So there'll be that component of active transportation incorporated into this design, so you can bike and walk down, similar to what's already on Gunningsville Boulevard, I think.
Okay.
It'll probably feel similar to that.
Sure. And there's a lot of roads in the Gunningsville area, a lot of older roads that could, I guess, in theory, connect to Bridgedale Blvd. Is that happening?
Yeah, we've actually had that question a couple of times. And so, for example, the school road is one I get asked about quite frequently.
The one that Riverview East is on?
Correct, yeah. And so that's privately owned land. And so there would be an option for some of those roads to connect in. That one, for example, would have to be developer driven. So if they wanted to extend that, I'm sure there would be lots of opportunity to make that happen.
Okay. Well, it's a major project. As a resident, when I hear $8 million, gives me a bit of pause, but I can see the value in opening it up for development. And really the more, I guess, maybe immediate thing is that when the causeway is closed, I think it's 2021, when that happens, it'll just ease some of the congestion and some of the pain that people are going to feel.
Sure thing. And growth can be costly. There's infrastructure in general is not a cheap thing. You'll see this across the country. Municipalities are constantly advocating for the federal government to be investing more in infrastructure and to support municipalities in some of those projects, because it is a difficult expense for us to be able to maintain and keep up. But as the town continues to grow, as we need to continue to open up the access into the East End, it's a priority and it's something that has to happen. And it could mean a lot of really good things.
Great. So when is this happening? I know it's under construction. Do we have an end date in sight?
Yeah, early November is the target. Now, of course, the caveat being if we get a rain day, it could delay things a little bit further. But right now it's set for early November, and I believe we're on track for that. And so,
sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us for the second episode of Town Talk. We hope you guys are enjoying this and look forward to hearing more feedback.
Like Eric said, we'd love to hear from you on this episode or any other ideas that you'd like us to cover. We're going to put the contact information up on the screen again, so please feel free to comment on Facebook or send us an email and let us know what you're thinking. So thanks for joining us on Town Talk.